Hey everybody, Miss Sandlin here again. We are continuing to read Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse. We are in the middle of chapter 15. Percy met Nereus, the old man of the sea, who seems like he's probably older than Poseidon, which is strange to think about. And they learned that Bessie, Percy's sea cow friend, is supposed to bring about the end of Olympus if it is sacrificed, and Thalia looked a little too interested in that. That was a little creepy. And our old friend, the evil Dr. Thorn the Manticore, has shown up. So let's just get right into it and see how they hopefully outwit him again this time. "This is just perfect," the Manticore gloated. He was wearing a ratty black trench coat over his Westover Hall uniform, which was torn and stained. His military haircut had grown out spiky and greasy. He hadn't shaved recently, so his face was covered in silver stubble. Basically, he didn't look much better than the guys down at the soup kitchen. "Long ago, the gods banished me to Persia," the Manticore said. "I was forced to scrounge for food on the edges of the world, hiding in forests, devouring insignificant human farmers for my meals. I never got to fight any great heroes. I was not feared and admired in the old stories, but now that will change. The Titans shall honor me, and I shall feast on the flesh of half-bloods." On either side of him stood two armed security guys, some of the mortal mercenaries I'd seen in D.C. Two more stood on the next boat dock over, just in case we tried to escape that way. There were tourists all around, walking down the waterfront, shopping at the pier above us, but I knew that wouldn't stop the Manticore from acting. Where are the skeletons?" I asked the Manticore. He sneered. "I do not need those foolish undead. The general thinks I am worthless. He will change his mind when I defeat you myself." I needed time to think. I had to save Bessie. I could dive into the sea, but how could I make a quick getaway with a 500-pound cow serpent? And what about my friends? "Well, we beat you once before," I said. "Ha! You could barely fight me with a goddess on your side. And alas, the goddess is preoccupied at the moment. There will be no help for you now." Zoe notched an arrow and aimed it straight at the Manticore's head. The guards on either side of us raised their guns. "Wait," I said. "Zoe, don't." The Manticore smiled. "That boy is right, Zoe Nightshade. Put away your bow. It'd be a shame to kill me before you witness Thalia's great victory." "What are you talking about?" Thalia growled. She had her shield and spear ready. "Surely it is clear," the Manticore said. "This is your moment. This is why Lord Kronos brought you back to life. You will sacrifice the Ophiotaurus. You will bring its entrails to the sacred fire on the mountain. You will gain unlimited power. And for your 16th birthday, you will overthrow Olympus." No one spoke. It made terrible sense. Thalia was only 2 days away from turning 16. She was a child of the Big Three, and here was a choice, a terrible choice, that could mean the end of the gods. It was just like the prophecy said. I wasn't sure if I felt relieved, horrified, or disappointed. I wasn't the prophecy kid after all. Doomsday was happening right now. I waited for Thalia to tell the Manticore off, but she hesitated. She looked completely stunned. "You know it is the right choice," the Manticore told her. "Your friend Luke recognized it. You shall be reunited with him. You shall rule this world together under the auspices of the Titans. Your father abandoned you, Thalia. He cares nothing for you, and now you shall gain power over him. Crush the Olympians underfoot as they deserve. Call the beast. It will come to you. Use your spear." "Thalia," I said, "snap out of it already." She looked at me the same way she had the morning she woke up on Half-Blood Hill, dazed and uncertain. It was almost like she didn't know me. I don't... "Your father helped you," I said. "He sent the metal angels. He turned you into a tree to preserve you." Her hand tightened on the shaft of her spear. I looked at Grover desperately. Thank the gods he understood what I needed. He raised his pipes to his mouth and played a quick riff. The manticore yelled, "Stop him!" And the guards had been targeting Zoe. Before they could figure out that the kid with the pipes was the bigger problem, the wooden planks at their feet sprouted new branches and tangled their legs. Zoe let loose 2 quick arrows that exploded at their feet in clouds of sulphurous yellow smoke. Fart arrows. The guards started coughing. The manticore shot spines in our direction, but they ricocheted off my lion's coat. "Grover," I said, "tell Bessie to dive deep and to stay down." "Moo," Grover translated. I could only hope that Bessie got the message. "The cow," Thalia muttered, still in a daze. "Come on." I pulled her along as we ran up the stairs to the shopping center on the pier. We dashed around the corner of the nearest store. I heard the manticore shouting at his minions. "Get them!" And tourists screamed as the guards shot blindly into the air. We scrambled to the end of the pier. We hid behind a little kiosk filled with souvenir crystals, wind chimes and dream catchers and stuff like that, glittering in the sunlight. There was a water fountain next to us. Down below, a bunch of sea lions who were sunning themselves on the rocks. The whole of San Francisco Bay spread out before us. The Golden Gate Bridge, Alcatraz Island, and the Green Hills, and fog beyond that to the north. A picture-perfect moment, except for the fact that we were about to die and the world was going to end. "Go over the side," Zoe told me. "You can escape in the sea, Percy. Call on thy father for help. Maybe you can save the Ophiuchus." She was right, but I couldn't do it. "I won't leave you guys," I said. "We fight together." "You have to get word to camp," Grover said. "At least let them know what's going on." Then I noticed the crystals making rainbows in the sunlight. There's a drinking fountain next to me. "Get word to camp," I muttered. "Good idea." I uncapped Riptide and slashed off the top of the water fountain. Water burst out of the busted pipe and sprayed all over us. Thalia gasped as the water hit her. The fog seemed to clear from her eyes. "Are you crazy?" she asked. But Grover understood. He was already fishing around in his pockets for a coin. He threw a golden drachma into the rainbow created by the mist and yelled, "O goddess, accept my offering!" And the mist rippled. "Camp Half-Blood," I said. And there, shimmering in the mist right next to us, was the last person I wanted to see. Mr. D, wearing his leopard skin jogging suit and rummaging through the refrigerator. He looked up lazily. "Do you mind?" "Where's Chiron?" I shouted. How rude. Mr. D took a swig from a jug of grape juice. "Is that how you say hello?" "Hello," I amended. "We're about to die. Where's Chiron?" Mr. D considered that. I wanted to scream at him to hurry up, but I knew that wouldn't work. Behind us, footsteps and shouting. The Manticore's troops were closing in. "About to die," Mr. D mused. "How exciting. I'm afraid Chiron isn't here. Would you like me to take a message?" I looked at my friends. "We're dead." Thalia gripped her spear. She looked like her old angry self again. "Then we'll die fighting." "Oh, how noble," Mr. D said, stifling a yawn. "So what is the problem exactly?" I didn't see that it would make any difference, but I told him about the Ophiuchus. He studied the contents of the fridge. "So that's it. I see." "You don't even care!" I screamed. "You'd just as soon watch us die." "Let's see. I think I'm in the mood for pizza tonight." I wanted to slash through the rainbow and disconnect, but I didn't have time. The Manticore screamed, "There!" and we were surrounded. 2 of the guards stood behind him. The other 2 appeared on the roofs of the pier shops above us. The Manticore threw off his coat and transformed into his true self. His lion claws extended and his spiky tail bristled with poison barbs. "Excellent," he said. He glanced at the apparition in the mist and snorted. "Alone, without any real help. Wonderful." "You could ask for help," Mr. D murmured to me, as if this was an amusing thought. "You could say, please." When wild boars fly, I thought. There was no way I was going to die begging a slob like Mr. D just so he could laugh as we all got gunned down. Zoe readied her arrows. Grover lifted his pipes. Thalia raised her shield and I noticed a tear running down her cheek. Suddenly, it occurred to me. This had happened to her before. She had been cornered on Half-Blood Hill. She'd willingly given her life for her friends already, but this time she couldn't save us. How could I let that happen to her again? "Please, Mr. D," I muttered. "Help." Of course, nothing happened. The manticore grinned. Spare the daughter of Zeus. She will join us soon enough. Kill the rest. The men raised their guns, and something strange happened. You know how you feel when all the blood rushes to your head? Like if you hang upside down and turn right side up a little too fast? There was a rush like that all around me, and a sound like a huge sigh. The sunlight tinged with purple. I smelled grapes and something more. Sour wine. Snap! It was the sound of many minds breaking at the same time. The sound of madness. One guard put his pistol between his teeth like it was a bone and ran around on all fours. 2 others dropped their guns and started waltzing with each other. The 4th began doing what looked like an Irish clogging dance. It would have been funny if it hadn't been so terrifying. No! Screamed the manticore. I'll deal with you myself. His tail bristled, but the planks under his paws erupted into grapevines, which immediately began wrapping around the monster's body, sprouting new leaves and clusters of green baby grapes that ripened in seconds as the manticore shrieked until he was engulfed in a huge mass of vines, leaves, and full clusters of purple grapes. Finally, the grapes stopped shivering, and I had a feeling that somewhere inside there, the manticore was no more. Well, Dionysus said, closing his refrigerator, that was fun. I stared at him horrified. How could you? How did you? Such gratitude, he muttered. The mortals will come out of it. Too much explaining to do if I made their condition permanent. I hate writing reports to Father. He stared resentfully at Thalia. I hope you learned your lesson, girl. It isn't easy to resist power, is it? Thalia blushed as if she were ashamed. Mr. D, Grover said in amazement. You saved us. Don't make me regret it, Satyr. Now get going, Percy Jackson. I've bought you a few hours at the most. The Ophiotaurus, I said. Can you get it to camp? Mr. D sniffed. I do not transport livestock. That's your problem. But where do we go? Dionysus looked at Zoe. Oh, I think the huntress knows. You must enter at sunset today, you know, or all is lost. Now goodbye, my pizza's waiting. Mr. D, I said. He raised his eyebrow. You call me by my right name, I said. You call me Percy Jackson. I most certainly did not, Peter Johnson. Now off with you. He waved his hand, and his image disappeared in the mist. All around us, the Manticore's minions were still acting completely nuts. One of them had found our friend the homeless guy, and they were having a serious conversation about metal angels from Mars. Several other guards were harassing the tourists, making animal noises and trying to steal their shoes. I looked at Zoe. What did you mean, you know where to go? Her face was the color of the fog. She pointed across the bay, past the Golden Gate. In the distance, a single mountain rose up above the cloud layer. The garden of my sisters, she said. I must go home. Oh, and that's the end of chapter 15. Man, that was a good one. I can't believe Mr. D saved Percy and the gang. And called Percy by his for real name for once. And it seems like this quest might be more dangerous for Thalia than we might have originally thought. I mean, I suppose all quests for her would be dangerous, being the daughter of Zeus and all, but it seems like the prospect of being in charge, having that kind of power, appeals to her, like it does to Luke. So that's a little concerning. Chapter 16 will be called We Meet the Dragon of Eternal Bad Breath. So we'll see how that goes. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Check back in to see what happens in chapter 16. Don't forget, we've got Zoom meetings every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at 1 o'clock. Check your dojos or live grades and things like that for more information. I will see you guys then.